Let's see how much money I spend on a weekend living in Athens. I've always said that this area does really good hosting events for the community that are free or super affordable, so let's put that to the test. I thought I was starting my morning with free yoga on the lawn. Beautiful morning at Wire Park. Perfect temperature for yoga. Here's the lawn. Turns out I showed up to a Pilates session. I really enjoy all of my visits to Wire Park. This morning was super calm. There were a few vendors setting up for the farmers market that was happening here afterward. My friend Jasmine was a trooper and joined me. This was still a free session, even though it was Pilates, and thankfully it was a beginner style class because I am not in enough shape for an intensive Pilates course. I survived morning Pilates. Full disclosure, I didn't know this was Pilates until this morning when I checked the schedule to make sure they were still having it because the weather was questionable. My friend told me it was yoga, which is very different than Pilates. There's a farmers market starting here in just a few minutes. I'm going to go to that with my friend Jasmine, but we're gonna grab a coffee from the 1000 Faces in here first, and I am gonna count that toward my spending because I'm getting a coffee on the weekend. I was trying to describe the aesthetic of this location to Jasmine, and the most fitting word I could think of for how this coffee shop feels is French. The matcha would have been $5.25, but Jasmine got the coffees today. I'm still gonna count this toward my cost because it's something I would have bought. Walking to the farmer's market, it's in the same place, so we don't even have to drive. This market had a lot of goodies, but it is very small and it's quite far of a drive. So unless I was already in the area, I would go to the bigger market closer to my apartment. Definitely some goodies at this market. I didn't see anything I wanted to buy. So we're gonna actually meet up over at Bishop, which is a really big farmer's market, also free. I'm a very firm believer that a market doesn't have to be big to pack a powerful punch, but Bishop Farmer's Market is both big and it has so many good products and incredible vendors. 3 of my favorite stands are the jar masala, the pasta guy, and this Sultan stand. I'm a big fan of their falafel mix. Jasmine is apparently a big fan of their hummus, which I need to try. There's usually live music for people to enjoy, and it only costs money if you decide to buy something. I'm gonna have to get the bread. I feel like it's a crime to see bread that looks that good at the market and not go home with it. I didn't jump to buy the bread right away because I do have a gluten and a dairy sensitivity. Cannot wait to eat this. We're downtown for the Hot Corner celebration and Soul Food Festival. I am on the hunt for some food. I'm hungry. Also, this is free, so the only money I spend will be money if I buy something or get food. I can already smell food. The Hot Corner Festival is celebrating Black-owned businesses in Athens. Overall, it was really neat. There was a lot of food, grilling happening straight on the street, live music, but I've never been one to sugarcoat an experience, and I will say within 10 minutes of getting here, there were 2 men who were really rude to us. It did get me down a little bit, but I brushed it off because I really wanted to support this and kept looking for the food I wanted to try for today. I treat myself to some gizzards. It's just so hot and there's nowhere to sit. The gizzard. Stand was called D's Nuts and Some. The gentlemen were so nice and they let you try a sample of the gizzards or the seafood patty before you made a purchase. So a gizzard is a chicken's food grinder and they're delicious. It's literally an organ in the chicken. I was raised on these. My grandpa made the best gizzards when we were growing up. I will say his are better than these, but these are pretty good. Kinda had to rush eat the gizzards because a protest was setting up while we were there. Eating this fried food in that heat too quick kinda upset my stomach. Forgot to pay for my parking, so we either got parking for free or I have a ticket. Magically no ticket, so my parking was free 99. Last event on today's agenda is going to a high tea drag show at Authentic Brewing. Before the drag show, there's a jazz band playing. I've actually heard them before. They're really good. And there's a little kitchen there that's serving pupusas. So pupusas and jazz before the high tea drag show. Parking for this event is free and there was no cover listed for it, so it might be a fully free event, but we'll see when we get to the door. Authentic is a pretty cool place to hang out actually, and they did have multiple events for Pride. There was no cover at the door, so this really was free, and as soon as you walked in, you could smell the pupusas freshly cooking. We put in an order and then headed inside to grab 2 Cokes to have with our meal where they were playing the jazz music pre-drag show. I don't typically drink, but I can confirm the drinks here are really good. We settled down outside to eat our pupusas and then moved inside for the show. There was such a good turnout. Everyone was excited.
Welcome to Your Life.
Each queen got an introduction from the host, which was Mary Jane, and then they came out and did a performance for a song. They were all incredible, but Mary Jane was my favorite. And even though the event is free, make sure you bring some dollars so you can tip the dancers. That's a wrap on Saturday night, and we're heading home. Happy Sunday. I treat myself to a Dunkin' coffee and a donut before church on Sundays. Classic glazed is the only way to go from Dunkin'. I've got my goodies. Let's head to church. The sermon itself is free, obviously. I am trying a new church today. I've never been here before. I can still hear the music playing. Thankfully, because I'm running a little late, the Dunkin' took longer than I expected, and then I hit some traffic. I am excited to try this, though. I've been looking for my church here in Athens. For lunch, I baked that focaccia bread from the market, and I eat it with the stew that I made earlier this week. Apparently, it sops up liquids really well, and this is a very saucy stew. This looks so good. My apartment smells amazing. This is Canadian bacon, asparagus, and cheese bread. I'm just gonna stick it in here like this. Let's give it a try. Wow, this is delicious. See the asparagus and the cheese. What a lunch. And it's leftovers, so it's free. Obviously I had to buy the ingredients, but that was earlier this week. I feel like my videos do make it look like I eat out a lot, but the reality is I love to cook and I eat most of my meals at home. Spending this afternoon by the pool, which is free because it's part of my apartment complex, which is very common. Most apartment complexes here have pools. It's the South, this is Georgia, it's hot. UV index 7 to 9 on a summer day like this. Pools are very, very common. This is the same Dunkin' from this morning because it literally takes me all day to finish a medium coffee. I would have gone to a Summer Jam music thing yesterday, but because the gizzards made me sick, I skipped out. The Summer Jam was free live music. So for the entire weekend, I spent less than $60 to do all of these things and still would have spent less than $60 had I gone to the music jam. The rest of my evening will be spent cleaning, doing a little editing, and cooking dinner at home. I have been asked how I have the money to always be out doing things, and the truth is, I don't have kids, I do work, and number 3, probably most importantly, when you enjoy the little things in life, you can do a lot more for a lot less money.